why we have
Yeah.
gathered here to do. It always scares me, that voice is like, the meeting is in progress. This meeting is being recorded. So yes, and if people will join us, we will be happy if they have joined us. And after the session, I will send an email to everyone with a recorded session. And if they have any further questions, they can either contact me or yourselves.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I noticed last Tuesday that it takes like a few hours actually for Zoom to download or to process the recording. Yes. So I'll probably send it to you tomorrow.
It's okay, don't worry, it's absolutely fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, do you want me to start?
Yes, sure, let's do it.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone who is watching. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Marissa. I am one of the representatives at Rotterdam Business School. And today I'm here with Victoria, who is one of our current students. She is in her final year and she will be sharing her experience after the presentation. But before I wanted to go into RBS and our program, I quickly wanted to share this with you because in the Netherlands, we have a different educational system. There are actually two types of universities here that you can choose from, especially with your Lithuanian high school diploma. So there are universities of applied sciences like us, and there are research universities. And both universities are really good. They are internationally recognized. They are accredited by the Dutch accreditation organization. But the difference is in the approach. So if you were to study international business at a University of Applied Sciences, it's very practical, very profession oriented. There is a lot of group work involved. There is a mandatory internship. There's an exchange program, and you have to write your thesis for a company. So very practical, very hands-on. And if you were to study at a research university, it would be more theoretical, more individual, and also more academic. So more traditional in a sense. And in general, a bachelor program at a University of Applied Sciences is 4 years, and at a research university, it's 3 years. So that's the main difference. They're both really good, but it's really up to you. Some students really like the applied sciences approach, and other students are more into the research university approach. So it's really up to you. And it's, what's most important is finding the right fit and the best option for you. That's most important. RBS is part of Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences. It's one of the bigger universities in the country. But for the bachelor and the master students, we have 2 separate locations. So in that way, you don't feel like you're part of this massive university. We're located in Rotterdam, very special city because Rotterdam is Europe's largest port city. So we are literally surrounded by big companies like Unilever or PwC. Or Deloitte is within walking distance, but it's also very international, very multicultural city. So nowadays it's home to people from over 175 different nationalities. So that's pretty much the entire world in one city. And that international aspect is also something you will notice at RBS, because we have an international classroom with students from over 63 different countries. So there's really good preparation for after graduation when you have to work in an international environment. All of our lecturers are from the business field. Most of them are still working in the business. Others used to have their own companies, so they have a really broad international network and a really valuable knowledge and experience that they bring into the classroom. Also really good to mention, especially after last year, is that we have a really good support system for students, especially for first year students who are traveling all the way to Rotterdam. It's just an enormous step for you to do that. And we don't want anyone to feel alone or homesick or anything. So that's why you will get, during introduction week, you will get a buddy. You will be assigned a mentor. We work with peer coaches and also with our student ambassadors and RISA, the Rotterdam International Student Association, to make sure that we support you the best way we can. We also have really good counselors at the university. So if you want to talk to someone or there are individual issues or personal issues that you are dealing with, then they are there to help you. This is an overview of where everything is located. So for RBS, we have a bachelor program and also master programs. So the master students are located a little bit more towards the east, and the bachelor students very close to the city center, just across the Erasmus Bridge. Our dormitories are located in between. So within 5 or 10 minutes, you're in the city center and also at the dormitories. Biking, that is, of course, because everyone bikes in Rotterdam. I do want to address the dormitories because the housing situation in the Netherlands is quite difficult, especially last year when we did not only have first-year students coming to Rotterdam, but also second and third-year students returning to Rotterdam because they went home due to the pandemic. So you can imagine that put extra stress on the situation here. I don't expect that exact same situation to happen again in September 22, but it's still difficult. So that's why we always say, okay, apply for both the dormitories and also make sure to look for alternative housing options. We have a good website, we have webinars, we have a full-time housing officer, and also Instagram and Facebook are very useful, especially Facebook, when it comes to teaming up with other students and to find an apartment. But yeah, make sure to start looking not later than spring, absolutely not, because yeah, you will need all the time that you can get. Then international business, because that's the program that we offer at RBS. We offer a regular track and a fast track. The regular track is 4 years. The first year is the same for all students, which is really nice because in that way you can get familiar with the 4 specializations you need to choose from after the first year. That also means that the first year is a little bit more theoretical, but then the second year is where you're going to put everything into practice. Maybe you're going to start up your own import company or you're going to participate in an international project. So it's lots of doing. The third year is for the internship, which is 1 semester, 6 months. The internship is mandatory. So you have to find a company that can be here in the Netherlands or outside of the country, where you have to work for a semester to experience what it's like to be out there in the working force. And that's really appreciated by companies after graduation. And the fourth year, the first semester of the fourth year is for the exchange program, or you can stay here in Rotterdam or different city in the Netherlands and do a minor. And the final semester of your fourth year is for your graduation assignment and writing your thesis, which will be for company as well. Besides the business subjects, we will also focus a lot on professional development. So you can expect subjects like intercultural competences, because you're in an international environment, self-reflection, critical thinking, just all of those soft skills that you need to function well in an international environment. And besides business subjects and professional development, there are also languages to choose from. As an international student, you will get Dutch in your program, although Dutch is not really necessary for daily life, but if you're planning on staying in the Netherlands after graduation, then it is highly recommended to speak or to understand a little bit. And besides Dutch, there are a lot of other languages to choose from. There are European languages, German, French, Spanish, there is Russian, there are Asian languages, Mandarin, Japanese, Bahasa Indonesian, Korean, and Vietnamese. So a lot of options to choose from, and really nice because during your internship, during your exchange program, you can actually go to those countries and experience what it's like to be working there. For the commerce track, the track that Victoria is doing, you're actually required to go abroad at least once. Depends a little bit on the country. If you're planning on going to China, then you have to stay there for a year. due to visa regulations, but in general, you actually have to go to one of those countries at least once. For the other 3 specializations, they're a little bit more flexible. So you can also decide to do a language, but to stay here in the Netherlands. Then there's also a fast track option for most EU diplomas. The fast track means that you would do the program in 3 years instead of 4, which is nice because then, within 3 years, you're done, you have your bachelor degree. It's optional and it's quite fast paced. So that's really something you need to be into. Yeah, it's optional. So we still have a lot of students who qualify for the fast track, but still decide to do the 4-year track because Rotterdam is a very nice city to be in as an international student. But at least you have the possibility to do the 3-year fast track if you would be interested. Some of our students actually decide to, after graduation, continue with the master program. RBS has 2 business-related master programs. There is international supply chain management and consultancy and entrepreneurship. They are 1 year, and just like the bachelors, they're also very practical, very profession-oriented. A lot of group work, a lot of company cases that you're gonna work with. It's also really nice. When it comes to entry requirements for the bachelor program, you need your high school diploma. And because most of you have English in their final year, there's no additional IELTS or TOEFL that you need to pass. Besides the high school diploma, there will also be a study program check. And that's just really nice decision-making tool to make sure that you're making the right decision and that this program is really for you. So that means that there is an online CV that we will ask you to complete. So it will ask about your motivation. So why do you want to study this program? What do you expect from the program? Where do you see yourself later on? Just to help you with that decision-making process. And then there will also be an interview via Teams with me or one of my colleagues to discuss your motivation. And it's just a nice conversation and also an opportunity for you to ask us any questions if you have them at that time. And for the master students, a business bachelor degree is required, or a business or a bachelor degree related to something else, but with at least 2 years of working experience. And of course, after your bachelor degree in international business, you can directly start with one of the master programs if that is something you would be interested in. This is an overview in terms of finances and what you can expect. So the tuition fee is very reasonable. The first year is only around €1,000, and then the second year onwards, only around 2,000. And in terms of living expenses, it's around 800 to 1,000 euros per month that you will spend on your rent, on going out, on groceries. Of course, it depends a little bit on your own spending behavior, but in general, this is what you can expect. And to help with those finances, a lot of our students have part-time jobs. That's really nice thing of being located in Rotterdam. Even though you don't speak Dutch, you can still work in retail for Zara or H&M, or in a restaurant or in a cafe. Yeah, that's quite special because I don't think that's in a lot of cities or countries where, without speaking the local language, you can still actively participate in society by, for example, having a part-time job. Of course, as an EU student, there are no restrictions, but we don't recommend you to start with a part-time job right away during the first semester because everything is new. So give yourself some time to get used to that. And after you're settled in, then you can see if you can look for a part-time job. Besides studying and working, Rotterdam is just a very nice place to have a nice social life and to do sports. Our master students are located a little bit more towards the east, actually next to Erasmus University, which is the research university in Rotterdam. And we share their sports center. So for a very reasonable fee, you can make unlimited use of that. So that's really nice. There are over 20 sport clubs that you can become a member of. I think they're almost done with making the new building and finishing the new building. So even nicer now to sport at the Erasmus campus. I think I'm almost at the end of the presentation. I just want to mention a couple of things. We work with student ambassadors. They are here throughout the year to help during open days or introduction week, and they usually man our front desk at the university. So they're always there in the afternoon to help out with the practical things or things you need to arrange. We also work with RISA, Rotterdam International Student Association. They organize a lot of nice events throughout the year. Parties, social events, business events, but also really cool workshops, like how to get the most out of your LinkedIn profile, or they invite a guest speaker who's gonna give a workshop on presentation skills. So super nice to attend, and they're always there, or they're always looking for committee members. So really nice to become a member as well. So lots of things to do in and outside of university. So I'm gonna wrap up, but I really want to give the floor to Victoria because she is the expert. She is living the international experience. So Victoria, would you, maybe you can take a few minutes to share that experience with everyone who is watching.
Yeah, of course. So I came to Rotterdam 3.5 years ago from Vilnius, just straight out of high school. I think a week after I got my diploma, I was here already, so mid-July. And also, as Marissa mentioned before, do look for housing in spring. Don't do like I did. I just came here after a week and I had to find a place on the spot, but thank God I found it. So I got a room and next to the location of the university. I got a bike, that's a must here, of course. Had to learn again how to bike on the streets with all the bike pads and stoplights and understand that I'm a crucial part of the traffic now. So that was quite an interesting experience. And so I had like a month to settle in a little bit. And then the start weeks happened. And I think that it was really great from the university to have those start weeks, because during that there were a lot of social activities, parties. Also, I get to know my classmates. We also did like, I think, a Rotterdam tour. So we walked around with different international students. So there was one part that was organized by the International Students Association and then the other one from the school itself. So it was a lot of activities, very eventful 2 weeks before the actual start of the school. And I think that was a really great experience. I got to meet a lot of different people and had a great time. And that kind of made me feel like, oh, okay, I'm in this big international city. There's so many cool people around me and there's so many things to do. So I was just very eager, of course, to go to different places and walk around Rotterdam and try to understand how everything works. And then, of course, school started. So talking previously with some other students, I've heard that a lot of students are nervous about coming to study here because, like, what is the load of work? Is it difficult? But actually, the first year is just for you discovering the program. So you're just learning a little bits of everything that's going into international business. And you're also learning a little bit about the language you want to choose. And it all comes step by step. So there's nothing to be scared about. You don't need to prep massively before you come because everything's going to be taught to you. And I think the teachers do a great job of just being very helpful and also just understanding that we're all humans and trying to help you and support you in every way. And also, as Marissa mentioned, there are different coaches and peer support. So there's a lot of people that you can talk to if you're having difficulties. So I think that was always nice just to get 15 minutes with your coach, talk about how life's going, you know, how's your work, how's your study, do you like your group, you know, and get somebody that can listen to you. So I think that was also really nice. And yeah, the first year, of course, there was a lot of partying, and Rotterdam is a great city for that. There's a lot of different bars, a whole bar street in the city center. So that was always the place we would go to with my classmates. So yeah, definitely a lot of nightlife and a lot of great shopping if you're also into shopping. A lot of great food. As Marissa mentioned, there's more than 170 nationalities in one city. So you can literally try anything from around the world. and yeah, it's just great. You know, one day you meet with someone who teaches you how to eat hot pot, the next day you're eating some pho in a Vietnamese restaurant. So I think it's always an amazing experience, and there's always something to do in the city. During the second year, then it was a little bit harder maybe to study. So the workload, of course, was more because yeah, you're growing and you need to know more of your language. You need to dig deeper into the business topics, but it was still doable. And even if you need to redo something, there's resits, and you just prepare yourself and you pass your exams and everything's great. And then during my third year, I had to go to China, but of course COVID happened, so that didn't go so well. So I had to stay here in the Netherlands. And actually I did an internship here in the Netherlands while working remotely. Like, it was a weird situation, of course, with the pandemic. But it was also great because I actually got the internship with the support of my supervisor from school. So in terms of that, there's a lot of support also in finding those internships because the school has a lot of connections with different companies. There's a whole database of internships that the university has themselves. So yeah, I got my internship from there with the support from the school. So that was really great. And I had a really good time and actually stayed at my internship company. So I'm still working there for more than a year now. So yeah, everything's possible. And now I'm in my last year. So of course, nerve-wracking, exciting, scary. So the first half a year is, yeah, after getting back from the lockdown and remote working, we're finally back at school. So that's really great to see all of the faces of people and your classmates and see yeah, how it is working back at school. And I'm going to have an internship to write my thesis in February. So yeah, for a bigger company now this time. So that's pretty exciting. And in terms also of part-time working, so Marissa mentioned that, yeah, there's of course an opportunity to get a part-time job. So I think that, yeah, Netherlands and especially bigger cities like Rotterdam and Amsterdam are great for international students because everyone just speaks English. So there's not really a need to speak Dutch if you want to get a part-time job. So the student jobs basically people get here are waiters, bartenders, maybe in hotels. You could also work with the International Students Association, right? So there's a lot of opportunities. And I myself worked once for a year in a Russian supermarket. And then I moved on to working in a restaurant. So two completely different experiences, but also very cool. And I didn't speak any Dutch when I started, but then of course I picked it up some things while just, yeah, listening to people on the street, having those Dutch courses in school, and also talking just to Dutch people, trying to get a grasp of the language. But if you don't want to do that, that's also fine. I worked fully in English and in the restaurants, and I had also a lot of colleagues that were international students that were also just doing everything in English. So no worries there. And I think it's very doable also to work and study. So I used to work around 35 hours per week and still study full time and barely had any resits. So everything's doable if you want to. And otherwise, of course, you can only just work in the weekend or something like that. So yeah, and I think it also adds to your experience because you get to meet different people from different backgrounds, maybe more Dutch people also. So that also really helps with your just international experience in general. So all in all, I'm really pleased with all of the experience I had here so far with Rotterdam and also the university. Yeah, because it has been a pleasant ride with, of course, some rocky moments here and there, but that's just life. And I think it was a great step for me to move to Rotterdam and study at Rotterdam Business School. So Marissa, back to you.
Perfect. Really good to hear. Thank you, Victoria. I think we're gonna wrap up, right, Veronica, because we're at the end. I wanted to share this slide with you because we have another open week coming up, first week of February 22. So if you go to the website rotterdambusinessschool.nl, you will see where you can sign up. All of the webinars that we did last open day are on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, Rotterdam Business School, the channel is there, and just super nice to watch and get some more in detail information about the program, about student life, about what you can expect. So thank you to everyone who was watching. We hope to see you next year. And if you have any questions, you can also ask KALBA and the team, of course, because they are here to support you. And yeah, happy holidays. And we're looking forward to meeting you next year.